Hi everyone, it's Eli. You know how sometimes you stumble upon something truly game-changing in healthcare? Well, I found it. KinetiSense. This cutting-edge motion capture technology is transforming movement, assessment, and recovery. Imagine getting instant AI-driven insights without any wearables on your patient. That's right, no ping pong balls needed. Just pure, accurate data. Perfect for boosting athletic performance, pinpointing imbalances, and refining rehab. Top professionals worldwide trust KinetiSense to maximize productivity and results. Check out our partner page to learn more. Experience the revolution in movement. Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More, the podcast that gives you a viewpoint in sports medicine that can't be found anywhere else. I'm your host, Eli Halleck, and we have a fantastic show ahead of us today. So, let's get started. Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. Today, we have a great show for you. We will be talking about volunteering in the field of athletic training and how important it is in so many different ways. We have two fantastic guests, and also co-hosting today with us is Veronica Chavez. How are you, Veronica?
That's how we're gonna start it. I'm good today.
Pardon me, are you Victoria Chavez today? I apologize.
Oh, I guess we'll see. We'll see how the podcast goes.
We will see, we will see. Our first guest is Brianna Millard. We all call her Bree. Hello, Bree. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Eli?
I'm great. Thanks for being with us. And today we have Christina Schur with us. Christina, did I say it correctly? I always screw up your last name. I apologize.
A lot of people do. It's Cher.
Cher,
Like the
just like the singer. Okay. I
Cher.
will never, ever screw that up again. I promise.
I'm used to it, so no worries.
So how are you guys doing this morning after Far West Athletic Trainers Association annual meeting? Everybody okay today?
Taking some time to recover. Definitely did not finish all the chores I had yesterday, but that's what the rest of the week is for.
So true. How about you, V?
Oh, I am recovering, but it was a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed it.
Victoria, that was your first FWADA conference, right?
Yes, it was. That was my first. I didn't go to them as a student. They didn't really push it or kind of let us know. It was an experience.
FWADA always is. As Bree knows, we've had some fun together in the past. It's always fun to connect with colleagues and friends, whether it's in a session or outside sitting having a beverage somewhere. So we enjoy CATA conference and FWADA conference whenever we can. Bree, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
So I was a CSUN grad, yay Matadors, and then I went to UNLV to get my master's. So I'm also a rebel. It's always exciting to go back home for FWADAs. I did my last clinical rotation with Eli at St. Francis, and then I went away to grad school. During my last year, I was applying for what I call my big girl job. So trying to get my first certified athletic training job because I didn't practice while I was in Nevada. I was just so focused on school. I applied for Loyola High School, and
I told you didn't have to name names. Okay, just remember that.
we're going to. It's okay.
All right, go right
It's
ahead.
such a part of my life. Eli was my recommendation for that job, and I actually didn't get the job the first time around because Eli was my recommendation.
I love
But
this. I love this story. This story's
that's
awesome.
because the first girl's
Victoria
recommendation
likes it.
came from the team orthopedic. So of course the ortho is going to outweigh the AT. She
But
ended up
really shouldn't.
leaving after. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And he's a great ortho, and I understand why. And he would now give me a recommendation now that he's worked with me. Then she ended up she took the job and then left a few weeks later for another position. And then lo and behold, I got a phone call that I got it. And I worked with Tim Osiki. And when I was leaving LA to move down to San Diego for my boyfriend at the time, now husband, who's in the Navy, Tim reached out to Christina because they had met covering, events with each other and something with lacrosse, whatever. And he basically reached out to her.
Networking.
Gave her the recommendation. I had never met Christina before. She told me about a position that was part-time that I took. And then when a position opened up in her district, just based on what she had seen me do in those short few months and what she had heard about me through Tim, asked me to apply. I sat on the phone with her for like an hour while I was at Disneyland, mind you, because I was so excited about this potential of having my first full-time job. I applied and she kind of told me what I needed to know, and then I got it. And a year later, I ended up, well, actually, within that time at that high school, I met the athletic trainer that was at my school and that I'm currently at, which is Carlsbad High School. And he loved just the one time meeting me and us covering football with each other. And he was just like, "You're so passionate. You love what you do. I'm retiring. I would love for you to, apply here." And this guy, Larry, was a legend in San Diego. And I was so afraid that I could not fill his shoes. And I
What-
remember him
And
saying,
Christina just mouthed, what did you say?
Love Larry.
Love Larry. That
yes,
goes a
we
long
all
way.
love Larry.
That goes a
Everybody
long
loves
way.
Larry. He's a
He had
legit
made
legend.
Yes, he had made the comment that, I told him, "You have big shoes to fill." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just a size 8.5." Trying to joke that it's not a big deal. And so that guy, till this day is still a legend here in the community of Carlsbad. And so I'm hoping that I'm doing a good job filling his shoes. So that's kind of where it all started. And so we're going to say that I kind of blame Eli for where I started. And then we're going to blame Christina for volunteering me to do all these volunteer positions.
Christina, tell us just a little bit about yourself. That would be fantastic.
So I am currently, I don't mind saying, at Westview High School. Sorry, my ice machine just kicked on. Perfect timing. Westview High School in San Diego, which is a Poway Unified School. I've been here this is my 8th year. I've been at the high school setting in San Diego this is my 18th year. I've been a certified athletic trainer for 20 years. It's interesting to say. I've had stints at SDSU, USD. I did my undergraduate at Eastern Oregon, graduate at Washington State. Yeah.
We really wanted to talk today about volunteering because it's so important to our profession. Bree, if you don't mind, can you talk about ways that you've started to volunteer either currently or even in the past in the profession?
I think there was like a few times, especially when I had just gotten out of school, or maybe I was still a student. We kind of joke that as you're a student, you're working for free, right? It's definitely not volunteer, but there are some instances where you might want to do some coverage for a volunteer event, for a charity event. And so I think I did a few of those. Really, I got involved in professional committees when I moved down to San Diego. We have a San Diego High School Athletic Trainers Association, and it's a group of all of us high school athletic trainers. Within maybe my second year, I think, living in San Diego, I got voluntold to join our board. And I became the director of public relations. And then 2 years later, I became president of that association. And then I termed out. And after terming out, kind of had some time of not really volunteering with an association per se. And then I've been on the CATA PR committee, I want to say since maybe 2019. I became the interim chair towards the end of last year, and I'm officially now the CATA PR chair. And I will be joining again the FWATA secondary committee. Yeah, I've just been involved in all these different professional committees on all different levels.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work. Go ahead, Christina.
My voluntoldism began probably in 2000. Let's see. 2008, we started the San Diego High School Athletic Trainers Association. That's been ongoing for going to be almost 20 years here coming up. So that's kind of a network of just the high school athletic trainers. We try and do per diem opportunities throughout the year that are free, like 1 to 2. We have email network that we can just, reach out like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" Or "I have this problem." Or, per diem opportunities that we try and keep at the high school level just to kind of balance our awesome salary that we have. It's kind of grown a lot. Our annual meeting is usually in August for like spine boarding. We have vendors come out now. It's kind of like a little mini symposium thing. We have a new managing board, turns over every 2 to 4 years, I think, Bree. So I was the president of that, vice president, and then president of that for a very long time in the beginning. And then as I was doing that in 2011, a colleague of mine by the name of Robbie Bauer, some of you might know him, volunteered me for CATA Region 6 Director.
So it's his fault.
It is
It's
his fault.
Robbie's fault. Okay.
Yes.
Robbie, it's all your fault.
Yes, he knows that. I remind him of that every time I get stressed out that you put me here. Um, even though that was 13 years ago. So that was Mike West. I served the rest of a term of a colleague who moved out of town or moved out of the state. So I finished his term of 2 years. And then I served 2 more 3-year terms. So I did that for 6, 7, 8 years. Then I got talked into being the CHEA secretary, where I am very thankful and grateful for all the things that I've been involved in, but I will be terming out in December.
So are you more thankful for all the things you've done or that you're terming out in December? It's hard to tell by the tone.
It's a hard balance depending on the day and the emails.
Fair enough.
I was just on the drive home from Florida, Las Vegas is a very fun drive. I was talking with a colleague and I am thankful for all the people that I've met. I've gone to lunch with Jim Thornton. We have NATA presidents that know me by name, regional directors, or just people, Lynn Nakagawa that I would never met otherwise. People who are just the women who pioneered our profession, learning their stories. And I've known them for so long, but I never knew their story. So I feel very fortunate to have been in a leadership position where I've not only been able to represent our profession and fight for our profession and all the things, but also get to meet those other leaders, not just in our state, but in our region. And our state's huge. And I'm from Washington, so this is a lot. I know San Diego. Eli, I don't even know where you are. I couldn't pick you out on a map, So
and that's not a bad thing. Some people wish they couldn't find me. So
yeah,
totally good. Bree's laughing, but she agrees.
Well,
and I think
but then there's
the same
people
way.
like you that managed to find us. So it's like, dang it, but
totally.
So it's been kind of a blessing. I've learned a lot. I think I'm at a point where I need to take a break. And I've been in the leadership role. You know how you do something for so long and then you're like, do I even love this anymore? Am I any good at it? If I'm being asked to do other roles, whether it's district or other roles in the CATA, I kind of want to step back and reevaluate myself and my leadership skills and my leadership styles and take what I've learned, see if I can still improve on that or do something better. And if I'm being asked to sit in a higher role or another role, I want to have a better understanding of how I want to approach that and how I want to take that step further. If I even do, I might enjoy this little mini break and just be chilling and watch people like Brianna take over and just excel and exceed. Brianna and Liana are incoming Region 6 director, so you bring us on and then you leave. Yes, because you want to bring in those that are going to be great leaders that are going to represent us well, that are going to be dedicated and committed. I'm leaving it in great hands. That's what I am going to be very happy in my time away because I know that you guys will, Brianna and Liana, who's not on this call, and the others on the committee just do a great job with it. And so I'm at peace with that, if you will.
Wow.
A long-winded answer.
No, that's a phenomenal answer. I loved it.
Yeah.
I think V's sitting there going, wow, I'm new to this and boy, I want to jump on board now. That was awesome.
See, I can sell it, V. I can sell it.
Yeah, no, we definitely are. Okay, as a student, personally, I can't speak for everyone. I always thought there was never enough time in the world. You have your clinicals, you have to study. It just took so much of your time. I didn't even think of volunteering. I didn't even know where you would volunteer outside of the opportunities they gave you in school. So if we're ready for questions, I definitely kind of want to know, how would you get that started as a student, time management wise, and where to go to find those opportunities?
So that's a really good question. Time management as a student is very difficult, especially if you're working or have outside obligations beside your clinicals and things like that. Right now with the CATA, one part that we're looking at is how do we reach out to program directors and get our students more involved? And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm just going to be honest, actually, that's kind of where we're hitting a wall. We have some program directors that aren't really getting the information out there, and we don't know why. And we're trying to bridge that gap, if you will, because we do want more student involvement. Brianna and Liana and another colleague have said when they were at CSUN, they didn't even know the CATA existed. They didn't even know that we had an annual meeting. And
well, if you don't mind me interrupting on that one, with age-wise, CATA symposium didn't start until I think the year I graduated, and Liana's a few years ahead of me, so that's also probably a reason. But we did know about FWATA, so I did go to FWATA as a student.
Okay, I think this is our 14th year.
Yeah.
So
Are
you
you
that old already?
Has
Brianna?
it been that long?
I graduated from CSUN. I was a super senior in
Oh my
2010.
gosh.
So if it's the 14th year, that technically would have been like the first symposium. So, but at least our program like involved us in FWATA, because my first FWATA as a student was in San Diego.
That's good to know. I know you and Liana have talked about going back and kind of endorsing CATA. A lot of people don't know it's there. I think being an NATA member starts it off with what I've been doing, and now Brianna's thankfully taking over and doing very well with, is the e-blasts and stuff that go out when we call for student leadership positions. Even if you don't get the board position for student leadership, we want students on committees. We want whatever your jam is. If your jam is PR, if you're like, I want, ethics, I want to know more about secondary schools, I want to know more about governmental affairs, we'll put you there because we want students involved. I think students are afraid that they, like you said, the time. Our student rep came to CATA but didn't make FWATA. But we try and do, like with what we're doing now, is we do Zoom meetings every 4 to 8 weeks. We try and we send out a schedule and everybody selects their times, and we try and do the best that's going to get all the executive board, then get the voting members and go from there. I know when Jillian was sitting in on our CATA meeting on the first day, she was kind of like overwhelmed because it's a lot. Like, we're a very unique board and we all have a lot of opinions. So I kind of just encouraged her, like, speak up. You might have a thought that's key to what might give us a different perspective that changes everything. And I think that's really hard for students to do, especially with the powers that be in the room sometimes. We need that outside looking in. We need those fresh ideas. We need those thoughts. We had a ton of students at FWATA. Some of them I recognized from CATA. So it was really great to see them again and talk to them again, because we're your future employers, or we're your future.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Networking
honestly,
for futures.
Yeah. There's this girl, young lady at I think she's at Long Beach, and her name is Genesis, and I will remember for her forever. If she is running for any sort of committee or whatever, or needs a job, I'm gonna say click yes for her, because
Shout out Genesis. Did you hear that? You've got Christina Scher's vote.
Wrap around your finger. And she's on the FWATA student board. If you're interested, I would reach out to your state leadership. You have Eli, Eli knows people. I mean, he knows people.
I know you. And Bree, and that's about it. I don't know many.
But see, that's a start. Or, someone on the FWATA board or whatever, reach out and be like, hey, I'm a student. What's the time commitment? And even just serving on a committee just can be around your schedule, but you'll get kind of to see how it starts to work just by being on a committee, then going to the higher levels from there. Just sitting down saying, hey, do you have time to have a coffee, or can I join you for lunch, or I would challenge you, if you're going to FWATA or CATA, sit at a table with leadership. If I'm at a table and a student says, can I sit and join you for lunch? Heck yeah. Sit down, join us.
We want to meet people. We've been around a while. We know our friends, but we want to meet the future.
I mean,
I'm
really tired of talking to Brianna, bring in a student.
Yeah. Nothing personal, Bree, but
I mean, bring in a student and ask the questions. And I think that's kind of the best way to go about it. And keep in mind, a lot of our profession is who you know as well. It's a phone call, and Bree can explain. I mean, how did you and I get hooked up here?
Well, I was going to laugh and say earlier when she said that Robbie voluntold her, and y'all were saying it was Robbie's fault. Well, Christina voluntold me. So my blame goes to Christina now for how involved I am. And that started with the San Diego board and has obviously now worked its way up to the CATA.
Now, the funny thing is, if we go this full circle, Victoria correct me if I'm wrong, you just started volunteering also. And you have
And
been,
I also blame you for everything.
there we go. You were nudged. You were nudged into
Push.
just well, you know, a nudge, a push, a shove, whatever you want to call it, into a volunteer position. And what are you volunteering for now?
Was it a nudge or was it a I told you, I'm telling you to sign up?
It might have been that
Yeah, a
in
little
some different
fuzzy.
words, but something like that.
At a CATA, I was with Eli. We were walking around and we go over to the booth and he says, "You're going to sign up for a committee today." I looked at him, a little shocked. Okay, what committee? And I was a little overwhelmed. Again, like I said, I didn't really do any volunteering as a student. Not that I didn't want to, but again, the time management, overwhelming. And so I was trying to think, okay, what should I do? He said, "What do you like to do? What are your interests?" And based off that, we went down the route of the PR actually, because Bree was there and she started saying what she does, what she's doing, what she needs help with. And I was like, okay, I can definitely do that. I like what she's talking about. I like how she's selling it. And wrote my name down, got her info, and here we are.
Here you are.
So
See?
you
Here
are
I
now
am.
on a committee.
Yes.
Congratulations. And
Thanks.
it's
Yeah, I'm
kind of
gonna say-
interesting
Yeah.
how we've all got there somehow. Go ahead, Christina.
I was going to say, I think there's a time, I don't know if you're ever comfortable. Even when Robbie was trying to get me to do Region 6, I was new to the high school setting. I was in my second year at the high school, When he says, and I had been the president of the high school association, he's like, well, I told Mike West, and I'm like, oh my God, Mike West. Oh my, like,
Shout out to Mike West,
yeah,
definitely.
I threw your name in the hat for Region 6. I'm like, oh my God, what does that mean? What do I have to do? Like that, I went from nothing to a director position. I don't even know San Diego. Like I know where I'm at. Like I had no clue. I had just moved from Washington 3 years ago. I had no idea. And here I am, a certified athletic trainer. I just took the jump. And now I've learned to trust. When I went from Region 6 to secretary, they're like, you could be really good at this, you could be really good at that. Like I knew treasurer was not an option because no.
I'd never go that direction either. Oh my God,
Yeah.
no.
I can't handle my own money, let alone our state association.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
no,
shout
totally.
out to Jeff Roberts and Mimi for their work with that. I think that I had to trust that I wouldn't have been asked to do those positions by the people who were asking me to do those things if they didn't believe I could do it. That's where a lot of that comes from. Then in turn, I don't want to let those people down. So there's a lot of like push pull with this leadership thing, like how much time, and that's why I feel like I'm starting to get a little burnt out, and that's why I also want to take a break, because I don't want to hate what I'm doing.
You can't.
Which is a big step too, to just say no. So I was asked to serve on a board just recently at CTA. Somebody approached me and I'm like, it was a huge opportunity, but at the same time, I knew I couldn't give that of myself right now. So there's a time to say no. And then there's a time, where you're like, okay, if this person's asked me to do this, then they think I can. And that, just ask the questions like, well, what does this entail? Like Bree said, before she signs up, she's like, well, what does this mean? What does this entail? And you sit and you talk about it, but then that you're not limited to that. Even if Bree's your committee chair and you're on her committee and you have an idea, present it to her, because that's what we want. That's what we need. Yeah.
The neat thing about this is everybody looks at those of us that have volunteered over the years like we're experts in the field and we know everything. Christina, correct me if I'm wrong. We're just winging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The imposter syndrome is real.
Yeah. No, it's really there. I mean, fake it till you make it. That's pretty much it.
Some days I surprise myself.
I think every day I surprise myself. So I'm right there with you. And Victoria will sit there and just be smiling right now and not say anything, I hope.
He's like, these people are crazy.
They are. But you have to be, hey. You have to be a little crazy to do this. You do. Because you're
I don't
giving.
even want to call it crazy. Like you just have to be passionate about what you do.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, if
very
you're
thin-
passionate by default, you are going to be crazy about it, right?
very
So I
thin
think
line of crazy and passionate, right?
you've
So
got to be a
true.
little crazy in order to be this passionate. You
So
know, I think they
true.
just go hand in hand.
Well, and that's why we all get along so well. We balance that line. Christina just said it. It's a very thin line between passion and crazy. And I know I've been accused of both almost daily.
No,
No,
what?
never. Yeah. I know it's a shocker, right? We do have to discuss your schedule this week, so be careful.
But I think Christina made a good point
Joking.
though about the burnout factor. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
still be passionate about what you do and still take a step back. And that doesn't mean that she's any less passionate, right? Like she's given so many years of her leadership skills and knowledge to all these different associations that and let's be honest, she's still going to be involved in little behind the scenes things and she's still going to be very vocal about things. I think that you always have to make sure that you are looking at yourself first. If you're starting to burn out, you're not going to be able to give your association, your members, your colleagues your best self. When you're in an opportunity to do so, then yeah, take it. So that's why I jumped on to doing the PR chair. I felt like I was in an opportunity to do so. I mean, I say yes to everything, unfortunately, which is a whole different conversation, but I know that I can say no to other things and take a step back when needed. Or as I'm building my committee, hint, hint, Victoria, I can rely on other people to kind of help me out and not have to just take on that burden. And unfortunately, I do tend to be a control freak and I'm still going to want to do everything, but I'm going to have to learn to allow other people to help me because it's not only going to allow them to become better leaders, but it's also just going to help our colleagues and our association and membership as a whole.
And it's going to help our profession in the long run because we come at it, all four of us come at it from a different angle. We're going to sit there and have an idea that somebody else might not. That idea might get tweaked by the next person we bring on. And it just becomes better and better. I think back to my time on committees as a committee chair with the CATA, and it was a fantastic 11 years. And I still don't believe it was 11 years. There were days it felt like 20 years in one. I felt like I was making a difference, no matter how little that difference is. And the key is Christina's done it forever. Bree, you're just really getting going over the last few years, and Victoria's just starting. We're going to impact somebody by volunteering, and we won't even know it. I know a lot of us joke back and forth, sucker, you're doing that. Oh my goodness. In reality, you're doing it because you're passionate about the profession. You want to give back and you want to make sure there's a good future. And we're all kind of nodding our heads going, yeah. And I think Christina hit part of it was making sure the students get involved. And I know as a preceptor, and correct me if I'm wrong, V, we try to talk about the CATA meeting. We talk about the FWATA meeting. We try and get the students involved. But part of it, and this is where I need to ask Victoria because she's new, it's a little intimidating, right?
Yeah, you're going to an event as a student. You have a bunch of certified athletic trainers there. You don't really know how to navigate that. And if your cohort isn't going, well, okay, I don't want to go. I don't want to be the only person there walking around aimlessly. It's one of those things where I wish I would have gone. I wish it would have been pushed. And I know Christina mentioned they're trying to bridge that gap of clinical directors kind of getting that going. Now that I am here, I'm like, okay, it wasn't that scary. It wasn't that bad. Bridging the gap needs to be done.
I know that as a student, currently we have a few students from Cal State Northridge. We're preceptors at our site for Cal State Northridge. We're hoping, shout out University of Laverne. We're trying to become a preceptor there too. So hopefully, formerly with Azusa Pacific, rest in peace. Bummed on
Too
that
soon.
one. We want to get our students there. We were just talking with Daryl last week about how important, he's one of the current interns, how important it is. And he was nervous. Well, I don't really know anybody. And just what V said, my cohort's not going. Christina, you hit the nail on the head. You said, just come over, sit down, talk to me, or I'll talk to you if you walk by. We're not that mean. We want to
Well,
make friends.
And I am one of those people who would go to the RBF. So I'm not really, we're not
I have daughters. I have no idea what that means. I never, ever have heard that expression.
I know that it's hard to approach people, or I always look stressed out, especially at CATA. But I know that part of my role as a leader is to network and bridge with those students. So it does take a lot to put yourself out there. I have more appreciation and respect for the students that do and do it professionally. We're not friends. Don't send me emails that are just unprofessional. That's like with Genesis, her name just sticks out right now because I just saw her again at WADA. Like she passed me in the hallway and was like, "Hi, Christina, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I know her," and it was kind of reversed. That's part of my role as a leader, is to be there for you as well. I hear you talking about not going by yourself and it being intimidating, but you wish you would have gone sooner. So I'm based upon this, we can blame Eli down the road. I
Oh,
might
I
be,
blame them all the time.
yeah, I mean,
That's
I
my
might be
role.
reaching
I take the
out to
blame.
you, or have somebody reach out to you regarding our symposium. Like I know Brianna kind of snagged you, but maybe you could be feeding us information for the symposium on what can we do that would attract students like yourself to attend, or events, things like that. I feel like if we have some more input, and we've been trying to get a student on the symposium board just to give us that feedback. How do we attract, say, no, we want you to come. No, this is what we want you to do. For you to say, I wish I would have gone sooner. What do we say to the old Victoria to get you there? So that's kind of where I might be reaching out to you, or have Tom Abdenauer reach out to you,
Name dropping.
name dropping.
Big Tom, how you doing, buddy?
I think like a really good, and then I just experienced this weekend at FWADA, especially because we have a student rep with CATA, and maybe we'll talk to Tom about this one, so it's not really a CATA symposium planning meeting. I ended up being a mentor for the FWADA Student Leadership Committee event. And shout out to Dominique from CSUN, who I believe might be their president. I had met her and a couple other CSUN students at CATA. I was talking to them, actually trying to set up a alumni group. Why not start with the students who are actively, part of the school still, that could help us with this alumni group. But anyways, she was a part of the leadership committee that set up this event for students. Students were intermingled in different groups. So you had students from Hawaii, UNLV, Fullerton, Long Beach, CSUN, obviously Laverne, Fresno, anywhere. And maybe you were only the one student that went to the event. Well, now you just met students from all of these different locations that are in the same exact boat as you in terms of feeling nervous about the BOC, nervous about being at the event. And they got to intermingle with each other, but they also got to intermingle with a mentor, with a certified athletic trainer. And I was one of those. Dr. Alejandra Merriman was one of them. I think for them, it was not only an opportunity for them to intermingle with each other, but also with a certified who has been there. Even though I'm not considered a young, early professional anymore,
You
I'm
are
just
on my
professional.
terms,
I think that, yes, well, according to the last episode where we talked about the more veteran ATs, yeah, I'm definitely still the younger one. They were able to ask some questions. And one of them that they brought up was, how do we just talk to the certifieds here, right? And I was like, just go introduce yourself. Obviously, come with some questions, come prepared. Don't just introduce yourself just to get your name out there. Actually introduce yourself and ask us some questions. We're always more than happy to talk to you, help you out, guide you, mentor you, maybe steal you for a committee. I think it just starts with, I can understand not feeling confident enough, but in that moment, fake it till you make it, and just come up, say hi, say where you're from, that you're a student. May I ask you a couple questions? Because now we know who you are. So like Christina said earlier with Genesis, same thing. Now I know who Dominique is. Now I know who a couple other students are that I met through that leadership group. So signing up for those events at the symposiums, I think, is the first start. And then, like I said, just going and talking to people.
As a student, if your first job, you have to be able to go up and talk to people. You have to talk to those coaches. You have to talk to those parents. You have to talk to those administrators.
So true.
And
Yes.
they don't know you from Adam. I think we could be your practice for that. Yeah, we're in the same profession with you, but we're athletic trainers. So being able to approach someone in a leadership or a older role, whatever, you have to have that confidence. Fake it till you make it. Have that confidence. We walked through the foosball tournament and we just walked in like we belonged there. And that's what you got to do. FWADA had a foosball and a dart tournament at the same time of our event. And we were curious about the foosball. So we just walked through there. But we're like, hey, we belong here. Like, yeah, we're part of this. And that's the confidence that you have to have, whether you're talking to us, but that's going to translate over to your next job. Like, Lucky for you, it might be with Eli. What if I
Lucky.
wanted you down here in Poway?
Hey, hey,
Well,
hey,
I don't know about
hey.
that.
Hey.
You're always going to have that coach or that parent, or say maybe it's the coach of another team that of a game that you're providing coverage for or care for. You have to be able to approach that coach who could be an older, gruffier, and present that confidence and present, I know what I'm doing and I belong here. And Caitlin, my colleague who will come in here in a little bit, she looks like she's 12. And so she's having to overly show that confidence and everything like that. Yeah, she looks like a baby. So, but what I'm saying is, yeah, it's intimidating, but use it as practice for what's going to happen in the real life. At least we know that you're there as an athletic training student and you know that we're athletic trainers. But in real life, I just had to fight off a Dr. Dad the other day for a game. And I mean, I've got gray hair and he's asking me, who are you? So it's always going to happen, but you have to start somewhere.
Elevate your knowledge, ignite your curiosity, and compete with the best minds at events hosted by the American Academic Competition Institute. AACI's sports medicine competitions feature practical exercises, challenging quizzes, specialty tests, and keynote speakers that foster knowledge and social engagement in healthcare and sports medicine. Go to aacitest.org for more information on upcoming regional and national competitions. Sign up for the ultimate intellectual showdown.
So sorry, go ahead. I took your
Oh, no, you're good. I know Bree mentioned CSUN has a leadership. Is it a group? Is it how does it work at CSUN?
It's like an athletic training club.
Okay.
And then that club has its own, you have president, vice president.
Yeah.
I don't know what their
Okay.
actual roles are, but I think you can start there, see if your own program has its own leadership committee, board, whatever we want to call it. And then, start at the baby level, we'll call it the I don't want to call it the bottom level, right? The beginning level.
Young
And then
profession or future young professionals.
early professionals, we're calling it now,
Future,
right?
future
And then
young professionals or
yes,
whatever.
and then work your way from there, because I think you can get the confidence at that point with your own classmates, your own colleagues per se, and then that can help build some confidence for you to want to move on and start working with different groups.
I think we just had a great idea pop up. What about having, like CSUN has, each school that has an AT program has their club and their president is a member of a committee
No,
or
that's a great idea.
CATA or
Because
FWATA.
APU didn't have one.
That's a great way to start the volunteering and finding out it's not as scary as, well, we look. It's kind of fun. You create these collegial relationships. I mean, Christina, you and I see each other basically every now and then. But when I see you, I'm happy. It's great to see you. You create these relationships with people professionally and you become comfortable with. But then at the same time, if my kids, and I say that as a parent athletic trainer, they're my kids. These students are my kids. I take care of them as if they're family. And if we're going down to San Diego and I don't know what's going on, I'm going to call you and say, Christina, what school is this? Who is the athletic trainer? Give me the lowdown. We've created that network and that trust that I know you're going to be honest and helpful. I can trust you. Just something as simple as sharing time on a committee can make your network so much broader, help you, as you kept saying, in a professional situation. But what a way to do it. Get them started when they're young, when they're preemies, I guess, lack of a better way to put it, and then get them involved. Gosh, I love that idea. That's a really good idea. Thanks, Bree and Christina. V.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, what the heck? We'll give all three of you the recognition because it just comes from us talking. I think it's fantastic.
Well, that's literally what happens in meetings. We'll be talking about something and then somebody's like, well, what about this? Or what about that? It's easy for us to sit in a room and say what we should have students doing, but to have a student sitting there and say, well, that might be a little difficult, or this, we have to put the students on a different election cycle than the ATs. And that was pointed out by a student. If you do this election cycle, it's not going to work for students. Something we didn't really even think about. Even like Eli said, it's the little things. We've known each other, I don't even know for how long now, but I call Eli up and I'm like, hey, can I come to your event and just watch? or
Heck
even,
yes, any
yeah,
day, anytime.
and then like Bree, like I had met her, Tim here and there because he comes down for tournaments. But I've known him well enough that he says, hey, I got somebody that's really great, then I'm gonna trust that. And if Eli were to write a recommendation for you for a job down here, I'm like, oh, Eli, yeah, for sure.
That's why I like her so much. She believes me, not like the other guy who took the doctor's recommendation.
Yeah.
She's, we
And
won't
you know
mention
what?
names.
It
We
was
won't
like
mention names.
no, and he realized that and was like, and I stayed with him for what, like almost 5 years. So he knew what he
He's
did
gonna
wrong.
he's gonna hear about that. I forgot about it, so I haven't taken a dig at him for a while. He's getting that dig today.
Oh yeah, I think it also comes down to like what kind of Christina's saying right now is that it's all yeah, you can know people, but it's also more, in my opinion, about people who know you. The more you interact in all these different committees and volunteering is more people that are going to get to know you. And then now, like Eli was, or Christina was saying, if you were to apply for a job here in San Diego and I get that recommendation, or I'm able to say, oh yeah, hey, like Victoria's applying for that job. Yeah, I know her. She's on my committee. We met a couple years ago, whatever it is, right? It's really about those networking connections is kind of what it comes down to. But I think it also it makes you a stronger professional based on all these people that you're meeting. And I know Eli kind of said this a little earlier, and Tim touched on it on another podcast, is that sometimes we go to these symposium events and yeah, we're supposed to sit in on these talks. Sometimes you actually learn a lot outside of those talks by just interacting with your colleagues. And I've learned so many different things or about so many new systems just having a space to interact with my colleagues and discuss things.
I know Christina mentioned, this is kind of backtracking, when people recommended her based off kind of like the skills she had or that she would be great for something. What are some skills that are great for a volunteer to kind of have? What are they looking for? What committees, what settings would be better for XYZ skill?
It really depends on the committee. And that's like, if you talk to Brianna and she's like, this is what I need. And you're like, I don't know. Like, I have somebody that's like, I don't really do social media or I don't have social. Okay, probably not going to be good on the PR end. But if your jam is, I'm really strong on ethics and professional codes and just really following by the book, then maybe the professional ethics committee, which is going to be brand new, is something for you. For me, for secretary, when they asked me from going from regional director to secretary, it was my organizational skills. It was my communication skills. It was my ability to, for lack of a better word, babysit an entire association. Because I have to send reminders. Did you do your annual reports? You need to vote on this. Don't forget to do that. Bree knows my emails, and sometimes I get a little passive aggressive and a little snarky, but does it get done? Yes. I think you have to have ideas, not to be able to speak those ideas, or at least ask, because like I said, your idea could be the driving force. And somebody was asking why region 3 does all of this and this region doesn't do it. And I said, because their region director has all these ideas and she puts them to work. Down here or other regions might not have. It really depends on the person. I would say if you're passionate about the profession, if you're looking to give back, just sit on a committee and see. And then once sitting on that committee, you can kind of see what the committee chair does and how they interact and bring information back and forth from the board. Like I said, I was the high school president, the San Diego High School Athletic Trainer Association president, and that's why Robbie recommended me for Region 6 director. I feel like they're vastly different, but also there's some similarities. So you have to be organized. You have to be able to communicate. One thing that I am continually learning is patience and continually learning how to work with very diverse personalities. Our board is 20 people right now for the CATA, very diverse personalities. And just the president's a tough job because he has to get the best out of his board with so much. We're all different settings, we're all different personalities, ages, gender, whatever, backgrounds, which is perfect. And I'm going to tell you, in CATA, for the first time in a long time, we had people vote no on things and disagree, and certain motions weren't passed. But that's what you want, is people to be able to speak their mind and say, I don't agree with that, and this is why, and not be afraid to vote no. I feel like Eli's got something to say. You're muted.
Actually, no. I don't have something to say. I realize we're talking and we're talking and we're talking, but some people might not know what the CATA is, what FWATA is, what the regions are. So I love my sister Angela. She's not an athletic trainer. She's an educator by background. So I always, let's say I try to educate her in case she's listening, which she's one of two people that does listen every now and then. Bree, can you tell us what the CATA is and then what FWATA is? Because not everybody listening might know what those organizations are that we're going on and on about like it's secondhand nature.
So CATA is our state association. So it's CATA, California Athletic Trainers Association. And so it's an association that represents all of us California athletic trainers. And then we break down into FWATA, which is the Far West Athletic Trainers Association. And that puts in the states of California, Nevada, and Hawaii. And Guam. Yeah, that's right.
Don't forget Guam.
Which is-
We've got
yes,
one in
and
Guam.
I knew I was missing one more.
With the Samoa.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
yes.
Samoa, you're correct.
There's one in Guam and one in Samoa.
one in Samoa. So we still want to represent them too. You know, you'll have different associations broken down, based by districts, if I'm correct, Christina, based on the NATA, which is our National Athletic Trainers Association. So our FWATA group falls within that D8, that District 8.
And that's just a conglomerate of all our different states, and we're represented to our national.
So
through
you
our
can go
region.
from the state level to the regional level, which is FWATA, or District 8, and then there are 11 districts within the NATA.
And then Christina, you were also saying, and again, this is to educate my sister Angela. How you doing, Angie? Love you, kid. You were mentioning regional, was it regional or districts in California that we have people kind of helping each other keep it all together? If you can
Sure. So
educate
California,
for me.
because it's so large, we have it broken down into 6 regions for California. And those are your regional directors. We kind of have it broken down by counties. Each regional director represents and is voted on by that county. And then that regional director, so we have 6 of them in California, and they serve on the managing board for the CATA in representation of their community or their region, and they're a voting member. So that is what makes our board for the California Athletic Trainers Association so different from other states, because I don't believe other states operate that way. They're also not as large. We have 2,400 members just in California. And when I say members, they're members of the NATA. And then to break that up, for us, like we're in Region 6, we're San Diego County and Imperial County. And then you go up into the, Region 4, Region 5, which is LA, Orange County. And there are 600 people in some of those counties just because of the dense population. Each county is each region is represented by someone who sits on our managing board. And then we have various committees on our managing board: Symposium Committee, EDI, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Symposium, what do we say? Brianna's PR. We have all these different committees. I can't even keep track. My brain is fried from being at our regional conference this weekend. So that's where we talk about the different levels, where we are on our leadership, just within the Athletic Trainer Association or the athletic trainers world.
Okay, Ange, hope you got all that. If you have any questions, shoot me a text. We'll talk about it a little more. But I think educating my sister is always helpful, because then she has a few friends that might hear about it and have a better understanding when they see their athletic trainer at Liberty Ranch High School. I believe they have a part-time now that comes in a couple times a week up in Galt High School. A little nod to my sister's school up there in southern area of Sacramento.
I do want to
thank you.
Put a little plug to Eli, if I may.
Go for it.
While I think it's important to serve on our leadership opportunities just within our athletic training world, I think it's important to network outside of that. And I did not touch on that earlier when you asked about my experience. And for some reason, when you asked about my experience, I tend to stay in the tunnel of the athletic training world. I am very proud to say that I have known Samir with Avive since he started the idea of Avive, the little portable AEDs that are out right now. And
Of course.
I I'm so proud of what he's done and how far he's come. I've known a lot about it for a long time, and we now have two of them. And I got in trouble for buying two of them, but I don't care because I have them. But just to see them at conference, see the work that they do, and see now they're a sponsor for the NATA Foundation.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, with a kickback that if you're an NATA member, you get a discount off of their, or if you're an NATA member, you buy an Avive AED, they will in turn donate to the NATA Education and Research Foundation.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
coming full circle. The other organization that I sat on their board for only a year because I did realize that it was too much on top of being a president of the high school association and a regional director, was the Eric Paredes Save a Life Foundation that does free cardiac screenings for youth here in San Diego. And I have been a part of that organization since its inception, I believe in 2010. And just to watch them do all the screenings and all the lives that they save, they also are a big supporter of our bill. We have bridged that relationship with the Eric Paredes Save a Life Foundation and athletic trainers. They know who we are, they know what they do. They've donated me an AED here. I've held 2 cardiac events, but I think that that's important to look at those outside organizations that are mutually beneficial. CIF, Robbie and I tried to get, what Southern Section has and get a sport and safety committee for our CIF section down here. COVID kind of put a halt to that, but I have CIF commissioners on my cell phone. I know Dr. Nichetti at CIF State. To have that networking that they know what athletic trainers are and what we do. I'm working CIF Petco baseball tomorrow. Brianna, they know her by first name because of all the stuff that she has covered. They've given her t-shirts and not, myself. And I'm talking to you, Todd Casson, if you're listening. It's
Funny how often we work for a shirt, right?
Yeah, I know. Just a little, yeah. I think that that's great as well, because if I call one of our section commissioners, they know who I am, they know what school I'm at, and they know that if I'm calling, there's a reason and a purpose, and I felt like I'm heard. And I'll see them out at events and say hi. They're not athletic trainers. They're not part of the CATA or, FOTA, but they're part of what I do at the high school level. Eric Paredes, the number 2 cause of death for the demographic that I work with every day. The Avive company, when they were building and modeling and shaping their AED, that's what we need. We need more of those. So the leadership doesn't just stop with your association. You have to think or look outside of the box. And mine started with Eric Paredes by just hosting an event, by educating them on what athletic trainers are. CIF, yeah, they kind of know we're there, but now they see a huge value to having us at their games that they pay us, or they listen to us when we say we have a concern. I feel like it's all in good time. We shouldn't be limited. We should continue to bridge out to those other associations that are mutually beneficial or tied into what we do.
I think that's great. And I actually have a question off that. So I know we talked about getting involved, volunteering, CATA, FWATA in your program, but how would you get involved in the community around you and represent not just yourself, but athletic training in wherever you are, whether it's in your neighborhood, your city? How would you go about that?
That's a good question. And I think right now we're doing it legislatively. We are encouraged to follow our legislators on social media, get their newsletters. If they're having an event, one of my legislators up in my area was having an event like a beach cleanup day. Go. Wear your t-shirt, your school shirt, whatever, introduce yourself. It's intimidating to walk up to us, but I mean, here's a senator or an assembly member, but introduce yourself. And we have, with the CATA, have made such an impression on a lot of legislators. Like Brian Mainchime is the assembly member for my high school area. I had an issue the other day. I emailed his chief of staff, and his chief of staff knew exactly who I was, even though I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But they remember us. They know who we are. Dr. Weber's office, who are our bill author. We volunteered at her turkey drive and her backpack giveaway. Within your community and social media, for all the bad things, there are good things to it. Follow organizations, follow Eric Paredes, follow Avive, follow whoever is in your area. You're like, oh, I've heard that so-and-so is doing this, then follow them, sign up for their emails, because sometimes they're just like, hey, we need volunteers for this, or we need volunteers for that, or just show up to their event and meet them. I guarantee you they'll know who you are by the third event. Or they'll be reaching out to you because you've been to so many events. Hey, can you come out? And in that, they're learning what athletic trainers are, or how did you learn about us, or why are you doing this? And you're like, I just want to be involved in my community, even if it has nothing to do with athletic training. And like I said, a beach cleanup day, a backpack giveaway for little kids that aren't even in my area. It was probably one of the most rewarding things to do, but now they know who we are. So that would be my suggestion, is if you see something in your area or you hear of an event, sign up for their emails, sign up for whatever, and then just read what's going on and make the time. And I know time is valuable. And we're like, oh, do I really want to get up at 8 a.m. to go do a beach cleanup? When we volunteer for Eric Paredes, it's there at 8 a.m. and you're there till 2 p.m. It's part of just being a good human, let alone part of just being part of this profession.
So true. What about you, Bree? Is there anything that you've gone outside of the profession and really jumped into and helped out with?
Christina was talking about a lot of things that can kind of intermingle with our profession. I actually also volunteer with something completely outside of the profession. I work in dog rescue. So I work with a rescue called Frosted Faces that's out in Ramona.
I
7 hours from
forgot
Diego,
all
Atlanta.
about that. That's right.
Yeah.
Victoria, I
So
never told you that. I'm sorry.
I think it's really important to still get involved in any volunteer group in general. I think just it makes you a good human. And I'll circle it back in the sense that it kind of came back, right? So I post about Frosted Faces on my personal social media, but I also post about it on my sports med page that I have for my high school students, because it's a way for those students to get involved that might need volunteer hours, or they actually just want to be a part of it. So I actually had a mom of an athlete who unfortunately their dog had passed away and knew that I was very involved with the dog rescue and asked if she could donate a bunch of items to our rescue. And some of it was food that hadn't been opened. There is a dog stroller because we have a lot of dogs that are elderly or just they might be impaired in terms of their movement, and the dog still deserves to get outside. But my whole point being is that I was able to bring in my passion of athletic training and also my passion of dog rescue together. I'll work a lot of events for the rescue. A lot of the time, I'm actually a moderator or a leader for our local Girl Scout groups that come in, and we give them a tour of the facility itself. And then I'm able to then, talk with these parents that are there or the kids. And I'm like, oh, what school do you go to? Oh, I go to blah, blah, blah. And then I say, oh, I actually work at Carlsbad High School. Then it's like, what do you do there? Tell them what I do. Of course, most of the time they don't know yet when they're at the younger elementary school age, but I'm able to tell parents what I do at the high school level and kind of give a little bit of an education on what athletic training is. Who would have thought that working in dog rescue would allow me the opportunity to now educate people on our profession? And it was just me just simply volunteering.
And I got my dog out because of Brianna. Our 12, 13-year-old lab passed away, and it was heartbreaking. And then once my mom was ready to get another dog, we didn't want a puppy. And so Brianna was sending us pictures and bios of all these dogs at Frosted Faces. And now we have our Charlie, and we've had him for about 4 months now, and he's just been great. But again, it's nothing associated. That's her passion, is rescuing dogs. She was with Save the Pits for a while or whatever, but that it doesn't have to be with athletic training. But like she said, you never know where it's going to bridge, or even like helping another colleague out find their new love, their fur baby. So.
And I know everybody here is a big dog fan. Victoria would pick one up
100%.
every moment she could if she was allowed to. I have 3 fur babies at home myself. Yeah, we're all big dog fans. That's fun to hear about and talk about. So we're coming up, actually, believe it or not, and I know Christina's going, no. Yeah, we're coming up on an hour. It went really fast. It's fun just talking. Whenever we have a chance to talk with friends and colleagues about anything in our profession, it's fun. But what is something, if you could give some final advice to someone interested in volunteering, whether it's in athletic training, whether that's in the CATA, FWATA, even national, what is a piece of advice that you each would give? Christina, we'll start with you.
I would say some things I've learned: ask for help if you need it. If you sign up and you're like, this is overwhelming, it's too much, I can't do it, let them know. We'd rather know than be ghosted. And I think communication, that, is a bigger part of just communicating. Like I tell my kids, The coach isn't mad at you, they're mad at the situation. And that's the same thing. Nobody's ever going to hate you. It's just the situation. Just that communication of, at least you let me know. Thank you for letting me know. But also, I want you to be able to put yourself out there and just take that step. And it is scary. It's scary for me every day. Like I said, I wonder if am I even able to do this? Why is, Eli asking me to do this talk? Why do I need to talk about leadership? Well, do I even know what leadership is?
Because you're a leader.
Yeah, but how did you get there? And so there's no how to, there's no rules, there's no book. It's knowing that you're passionate, that you want to give back. And that's one thing that I have always been, quote unquote, conditioned, is to give back. So do I do it because I feel like I have to? No, and yes, but more or less that once I get into it, I kind of enjoy the networking aspect, the bringing upon new ideas, the making our profession better than we found it, and just continuing to grow. And if I look at the growth from the last 13 years that I've had on the board, it's unbelievable. And I can look back and be like, look what we did. Just to be a part of something greater than yourself. I think it's great that if I'm going somewhere, I look to see who I know in that area. Or like if Eli's coming down to San Diego and didn't call me, I would be pretty upset. Now, if he said like, hey, I just didn't have time, okay, fine, but at least he communicated it. No, but same thing. If I was up in CSUN and didn't
Promise, I will communicate.
Yeah, and just stop and say hi. And I think that's, people move out of state. People go to the collegiate level. It's not solely for the secondary level. People go to the professional level. I have former students that I can reach out to that are working with different professional organizations, or industrial. It's creating a network that's never ending. And I think that's another unique part about our profession, is the people that we know are never ending. And my AD is still continuing to learn that who I know just being an athletic trainer, let alone my involvement with leadership, is never ending.
It's kind of scary at points how many people we actually know.
Yeah. And it's funny. One of my APs is like, the running joke is, don't they know who you are? Just because it's always somebody or something that's like, oh, I know them. Or something, don't they know who you are?
That's awesome.
Yeah, really. Because gets to that, you get to be a certain age and it gets to be that point. You're like, oh, I know them, or I'm going to call so-and-so, or I'm going to do this, or
give me a second. I'll text that person right now.
Yeah, let me find out for you. And they're like, wait, you're just texting the state CIF commissioner? Yeah, you'll get back to me.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, duh, he doesn't, don't you know who I am? Leadership, and I'm, oddly enough, I'm an introvert by nature. So this kind of pushes me a little bit into that extrovert. It makes me very uncomfortable. But if you always live in a comfort area and you're always just living within your comfortable space, are you challenging yourself to be better, do better, not just for the profession, but yourself? But I'm also at a point where for myself, I need to take that break. So understanding your boundaries and your limitations is key, but also to be able to communicate that and just say, sorry, I can't apply for that role because I really need to take a step back. So there's a balance. It's a never ending learning. And I think our profession, just as athletic trainers and as science, is a continually learning. And we're learning about ourselves as well. So that was a long part. I forgot the question.
I loved it though. Brianna, any final advice for someone?
Earlier, Victoria had asked about what skills it might take to be a part of a committee or to take a leadership role. And yeah, I think the skills are important, but also just knowing what you're passionate about within the profession, right? I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily passionate about social media. I'm just good at it because I'm on it all the time. And I run social media for myself, for my sports med. I used to do it for our high school group. I do it for the Frosted Faces. I'm just on it I'm on my phone 24/7, and Christina just always gives me a hard time about it. But why not?
She has dots on her stories, not dashes. They're dots.
Yeah, it's like it's just like a straight line basically of how many things I post. But I'm just passionate about a lot of things, so I share all those things on my story. But I think it's just, what are you passionate about? And I don't think I'm necessarily passionate about social media per se. If I'm on my phone all the time, why not use that to my advantage to help promote my profession? And I am passionate about educating our community about what we do. I am passionate about showing off our colleagues for the good job that they did, the award that they won, a life-saving event. Like we need to be promoting that. So if I'm on my phone all the time already, well, I guess PR made sense. I may not be the strongest at creating a Canva infographic. So maybe that's what Victoria's role will be for me, right? But I think if there's something you're passionate about, whether it's a secondary setting, it's a college setting, industrial setting, ethics, equity, and inclusion, be a part of that committee because that's what you're passionate about besides just being an athletic trainer. There's always something that you can be involved in. And I think for me is that find what that passion is and somehow find a way to now get other people passionate about that part of athletic training.
And you mentioned awards. I did want to take this opportunity to embarrass the introvert that is on the show today. I want to congratulate Christina on the Servant's Heart Award that was given to her by District 8. Congratulations, as it states, on being recognized as a Servant's Heart Award winner by the National Athletic Trainers Association and the Secondary School Committee. This award is a statement to your hard work, dedication, and outstanding performance in the profession and in your community. That is just one of many reasons so many of us are privileged to know you and work with you, because you are a person that makes a difference. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Congratulations.
It's really uncomfortable right now, but thank you.
I feel like she's hiding back tears right now.
I was just awkwardly embarrassed and want to shut my camera off, but I will say it is nice to be recognized for the hard work that we do sometimes that's above and beyond our job and going outside of our job description. But that's not why we do it. Those who are in it for the right reasons, that's not why we do it. And so while it is nice, it is also humbling and not something I will continue to do regardless. I didn't even know what the Servant's Heart Award was. I had to look it up to see if I was even eligible for it when I was told I was nominated, because that's not my goal. It's not my passion. It's the plaques on the wall. It's what I can bring back to my community. And getting a second athletic trainer at every high school in PUSD was significant. And bringing our school from 3 AEDs to 9 is significant. But I didn't do it for the award. I did it for our community, for my sanity and my athlete's safety. So community safety.
To take care of kids.
Yeah, well, not just the kids. Look at the most recent one. The Region 3 was a spectator.
Yep. Was that Victoria up at Reedley High School?
Yes, and my
Shout out
life-saving,
Victoria.
mine and
Props.
Robbie's life-saving was a spectator. Nikki
Yeah.
Denner's was a spectator. Karen Hughes was a spectator. There's a lot that, we're responsible or asked to respond to those life-saving community events. Just by having 2 AEDs on our campus that are unlocked is huge.
Well, shout out to Avive on that one because Victoria had actually just gotten her Avive AED 2 hours before the cardiac event happened.
2 hours before?
Yes.
Oh
and
my
it happened
goodness.
to have it on her cart. Even though there was one that was going to be within a minute of the baseball stadium, it just happened to be at her cart. She just so happened to be at the baseball field when it happened, and she wanted to make sure, because she told me the whole story, to shout out how well her coaches did, how well the bystanders did. In the moment, an EAP really wasn't even in process because of how quickly it all happened, in the sense of the community stepping up. But the fact that the AED was just there, and like I said, 2 hours before, and the community did a great job, and the coaches did a great job. So that's part of her of making sure that that EAP was kind of put out there. But just how cool of a story that all the things lined up so quickly.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Kirby and Victoria out at Reedley High School in San Joaquin Valley of California. I know Kirby's about to retire and has been there with Victoria. I believe he's been there 37, 40 some odd years. And Victoria has really stepped into the role and really taken hold of the reins and done such a fantastic job. So to hear that they've saved a life, just talk about making a difference. Just
the one thing I
wow.
do want to shout out before we close out here is my athletic director as well, who, when I was hired, I told him I had a state responsibility for leadership, and he has done nothing but support me in that role. If I need time off, if I need to do this to represent our leadership. He thinks it's key. Leadership is key. So to get the AEDs, to the extra AEDs that we have, to allow me to go work the CIF or network with CIF or a Vive or bring a Vive on our campus, to bring EP Save a Life, to even help me figure out a way to best word how to get our second athletic trainers approved. And he's been supportive of that process. I think educating our administration on what we do in the leadership is important with that. But I do want to give a shout out to him for supporting me in my roles, all of them, and helping me through that, because I know I am very lucky that not a lot of athletic trainers have administration or athletic directors that support them in what they do outside of just their job.
Props to the AD. Well, ladies, I appreciate your time, your opinions, your honesty, and your willingness to deal with me and this podcast. You guys are awesome. You're great representations of what is good about our profession. I appreciate all three of you. So thank you for being on Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. You guys have a great week. Thanks for being on.
You too.
Thanks for having us.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want to make sure you hear every episode? Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Don't forget to share our podcast with your colleagues, family, and friends. Your support will help more people find and enjoy our content. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is directed by Eli Halleck. It is produced by Gabriel Halleck. Our theme music is by Coma Studios via Pixabay. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the contributors. Want to know more about us? Visit us at wrapituppodcast.com. That's with one P, wrapituppodcast.com. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is a production of Halleck Consulting, LLC.